everybody. I'm Bill Hupp, along with the principal of Coon Rapids High School, John Pena, joining me for the first part of the broadcast. And John, it's our chance to broadcast and show to the world the defending state champion Coon Rapids Cardinals.
I can't wait to see them. You know, it's always a pleasure, you know, when you come out and you watch some kids do some stuff they like to do. You know, every kid has a passion, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous right now because I was telling some of the parents here that when I bowl, I need the gutters up, right? I mean, and I'll be honest with you, and I, you know what, I'll be honest, I even like scratched or gutter balled when I had the gutters up.
Hey,
so
we've all been there.
I'm going to feel a little inferior after this goes on.
We've all been there.
Yep.
So as we get right to the action, and immediately Aiden Hofstadt picks up a spare. So it's 10-10 after a strike was recorded by sophomore Xavier Weiss.
Look at that. Right away, it's a tie score. That's crazy.
And next up for Spring Lake Park, senior Jonathan Cox, an average of 200. And a strike picked up for the Cardinals by freshman Mason Kopp.
See, that's why we're state champs. We train them in young. You got freshmen over there getting strikes.
Exactly. We'll have game 2 to follow. This one will be St. Francis, and 3 of their kids are technically in junior high. Excellently done right there by Cox, who picks up the spare. And so it's 30 apiece. Beautiful side spinning shot here from Braden Bolnick, the senior. The senior. And he gets 7. Knocks down the old 8-5, the old 8-5-10 split.
So they don't bowl the ball straight down the lane anymore, do they?
No.
So it's got that little curve action.
Yeah, well, more and more. And actually, a fun fact about Coon Rapids is Blaine is hyped about picking up a spare. Fun fact about Coon Rapids is they're the first team to have a two-handed bowler in Win State. All 5 of their bowlers were two-handed bowlers. Which is a rarity, as Bolnick picks up the spare.
So help me understand why that's an advantage.
I think it just allows you to create the kind of spin with the oil in the lane. This is where it would be helpful to have a bowling coach that we normally have on these broadcasts. Was unable to join us this year, but yeah, I just think it creates enough force and enough spin, the physics of it, that it kind of spins down the lane and ends up going right in the middle where you want it to. So whereas I think if it hits the pin straight on, sometimes that action will then leave 1 or 2 of the pins standing.
Yep.
And then you have, you know, the dreaded 7-10 split, right? The 7-10 split is obviously where the 2 farthest pins apart in the back.
And I think that's what Blaine actually, when they were going crazy over there, I think
that's
they hit
what
a 7-10
they had.
split.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So a strike recorded here by the number 4 bowler, Josh Bentzler, after Weiss went 6-3. First time that something hadn't been collected is right there. Matt Vogley goes 8-1, unable to pick up the spare. So in the 5th spot, Nikolai Hirsamaki. 300 is his high score. It goes by Nico. He was on the state championship team last year, as he gives a little love to Lucas Vrebeck, who just recorded a strike of his own.
So 300, is that a perfect game?
It is a perfect game.
See, that's what I'm doing.
And that's why, as you can see
there
right there, Nico Hirmasaki collects his strike. 75-67, Spring Lake Park and Coon Rapids tangling on lanes 1 and 2 here at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. It's a matchup of the last 2 defending state champions in Class 3A.
Oh, really?
In case you didn't know, Spring Lake Park won in 2022. And then last year, Coon Rapids won. Coach Rob DeVries sitting right in front of us as the 10 pin is left here by Aiden Hofstedt. And something you were mentioning
Yeah.
before, this kid's pretty good in the classroom.
Yeah,
too.
he is. He's one of we have 2 National Merit Scholar semifinalists, and Aiden happens to be one of them. So, not only is he skilled here in bowling, but he's also pretty skilled in that classroom. I mean, I walked in a math class of his, and I'll be honest with you, it was more like a reading class. There's not too many numbers going on, and I'm trying to figure out what they're doing in that class. But, he seemed to be pretty attuned to what's going on.
Unable to pick up the spare there, which is what he was able to do last time. So Jonathan Cox will watch Braden Bolnick bowl, and he leaves the pin right in the middle, the 5 pin.
And so my understanding is a match is the best 3 out of 5, correct?
Yes.
Best 3 out of 5 games? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Typically takes an hour and 15 minutes or so. Coon Rapids will face Spring Lake Park, and then they'll also face St. Francis in the second game, as Bolnick unable to pick up the spare there. A couple other teams here at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids this afternoon include Anoka, Blaine, and Andover. So classic kind of Northwest Suburban Conference action, as 2 straight spares after 2 straight strikes for Blaine.
Here's Bolnick again. There he goes, back on track. Here we go.
And a great bowl by Bolanek. After that was actually Mason Kopp, who did not pick up the spare before. So Bolanek gets the strike.
Uh-oh.
And a beautiful answer by the bearded Josh Bretzler.
He's got more facial hair than me.
So, yeah, each kid gets 2 rotations per game, and there is best 3 out of 5. Of course, the coaches here are usually good pals, know each other pretty well. Still competing, but definitely have that good camaraderie.
So which one would be Woody Harrelson? Which one would be Bill Murray? Between the 2 coaches.
I don't know. I think DeVries kind of looks like Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
That's what I'm gonna say. That's my feeling. Oh, excellent spare picked up by Matthew Vogley.
Oh man, that was great. Having that moment there with his player.
Coach DeVries in his 10th season in charge of this program. State titles in 2020 and 2023. 2020 was a weird year, obviously, with the pandemic, unusual.
Yeah.
And they just did competitions with 3 bowlers, not the full 5 teams, but an excellent job by Nico Hermasaki. 2 strikes and 2 turns for him.
One of the hardest things to do in sport is to repeat. As state champs, obviously we got the 2 returning state champs right here. It's always hard to keep up that intensity, And so if they can pull it off again, that'd be great.
Yeah, and everyone raises their game to try to match you, as Lucas Verback, average of 215, knocks that one home. Hirmasaki able to respond.
And the coolest thing here is you watch these kids do the fist bump afterward, right?
Yeah.
The sportsmanship,
It's excellent.
It's awesome to see in an event like this, because you're competing against each other, but you're really competing against yourself, working on your skills and techniques. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
So I really like to see the sportsmanship being displayed.
Yeah, it's a great point by you. And Verbeek goes strike and then 9. He'll try to pick up the spare. It's 192 to 154, but obviously we're seeing what Hermasaki can do, as he Coon Rapids will finish with a score of 162. And certainly some of the spares that they left out there ended up costing them. But,
started strong, and in the middle.
match one, game one goes the way of Spring Lake Park. 192 to 162.
So now they switch lanes, right?
Yes.
They swap them?
Yep, they go to the other side. And so Cardinals will try to respond here. See if they can't get back to their winning ways.
What is that, a 5-10? That's a 5-10 split he's got to hit?
Yeah, Aiden Hofstedt.
Yep.
Which is not the easiest one, but doable. The Weiss brothers participating today, senior Jacob and sophomore Xavier.
Oh.
This is the senior Jacob Weiss. And let's see if he can pick up the 5-10 split here, Aiden Hofstad, and he does not. So that's what hurt Coon Rapids in the first game between these two. But I've definitely seen in previous broadcasts teams lose the first two and then win the next
Just
two and
up.
force a fifth set.
Yeah, this is a game of like not even inches. It's like millimeters, right?
Yes, and spin and everything
Yeah.
else. Mason Kopp, the freshman, high score of 279. Pretty good if you can bowl your way as a freshman into the varsity line.
Yeah. So what was the craziest score you've ever seen in a match? Like the end score of a game?
Oh, for teams?
Yeah. Like right now, I'd say 300 is the best score. What's the craziest score you've ever seen between two teams?
I want to say, I don't remember the exact scores from years past, but I want to say I've seen like a 255 to 235.
Really?
Yeah. There was one run that Coon Rapids had last year. Coon Rapids or Blaine, but they were competing against each other. And I want to say Blaine racked up something like 8 strikes in a row or something impressive.
Wow.
Something really, really impressive.
Have you ever seen a team bowl a perfect 300?
I have never seen that. Granted, I've only done 3 bowling broadcasts, so it's not like I've seen a ton. But, but no, I've never seen that. I would love to, though. Or one of these kids bowl a 300 game. I would love to see that, too. So now it's on Braden Bolanek to see if he can pick up a much-needed spare.
I was watching these kids bring their balls in. I mean, those things are heavy.
Yeah.
They got like 3-4 bowls in a bag.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and very fun, the customization. I always get a kick out of how wild the jerseys are, too.
Yeah, I know.
Very fun designs. Excellently done by Braden Bolnick there to pick up the spare. It's kind of fun, though, right? I mean, it's always good when you have a state championship team in your school, right? And and to have it be bowling or anything else, that's got to be exciting.
Yeah, last year we ended up, we did okay. We had, bowling. We had our competition cheer team, won the state tournament. Our boys basketball team made the state tournament. So
yeah, you had a good year.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last year.
Matthew Vogley having a lot of fun here as he picks up his first strike of the afternoon.
Ooh, left up one.
7 pin left in the corner there. Close match right now, 57-56 here as we enter the 5th frame, or end the 4th frame technically. SLP right now, the home team, and they do indeed pick up the spare, so well done. And you're right, I like the fist bumps, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Because you don't want to win because of a gutter ball or something. I honestly think I've seen I don't even know if I've seen one gutter ball in my time broadcasting bowling. It's pretty amazing how consistent these kids are.
Well, put me out there. I'll show you a few.
Yeah, exactly, same. 7-4, 6-10, the pins left.
Now that's a hard one, right?
Yes.
To hit that, that's going to be hard.
And that's kind of surprising for Hiro Masaki, as he's one of the more consistent ones. Got the great red and black bowling shoes, and that's there's some little bit meat on that bone as well.
Oh,
I jinxed
you
it.
did.
As
you
soon as
did.
I said I don't think I've ever seen a gutter ball,
Oh.
there it goes. So that's my fault, Nico.
Yep, I'm going to blame him too.
69-67, tough. Oh, that's a heck of an effort right there. Ultimately, Lucas Verback unable to pick up the spare, but he gave it a heck of an effort. 4 out of his 5 down.
Yeah, so we'll see the back half here, right? I mean, we're tied, 2 pins separated, so.
Yeah, it'll be. And it's unusual to see I don't even know if they call it the anchor necessarily, but the last bowler to go in Hiramasaki and Vrabak rather, not at least get 9 of the 10 pins down.
Yeah.
But, fortunately for them, they can keep in touch by both having kind of off matches or off rounds. Beautiful bowl here. Weiss trying to.
It's 9 apiece.
Trying to will that pin down, and it's the 2s left.
Oh.
And unable to clean up the spare there. So it's 80-75 with Xavier Weiss trying to pick up that last pin.
So then, is it advantageous to put your best bowler in the 5th and 10th, right? Because you get three shots in the last frame, right?
Yeah, as I understand it, and sometimes I've seen where Coach DeVries would shuffle the lineup, if you will, and maybe move someone who's struggling from 2 to 4 or whatever, or who's bowling well from 2 to 4. And I think there's a little bit of shuffling, but for the most part, your 5 or your 5.
Yep.
But I have seen that change work, like I said, as Kopp with just a little bit of work to do for his spare.
Yeah, it's pretty intense and relaxed at the same time,
Yeah, and it's a co-ed sport, which is also interesting and fun. And
another cool thing to see is in between, so right now, Mr. Hofstad over here is working with Coach. So it's those pieces where you get that immediate, correction or coaching after you're done with your frame.
Yeah.
Which for any sport is super important, right? So you can learn from your mistakes right away.
Well, and it's amazing, too, because bowling is just like golf, right? It's such a technique sport. It's such a mental sport.
Yep.
And you can get in your head about your technique, and it just takes it being off just a little bit to affect things. Mm-hmm. And also, similarly, I think you can find the stroke as well. So clearly, Aiden Hofstedt, the senior, trying to do that. 3 seniors in the lineup for Coon Rapids this year, and 4, in fact, in the lineup for Spring Lake Park. So kind of the opposite of St. Francis, who's, throws out a couple 8th graders and a 7th grader just trying to build their program.
Yep.
120-92 SLP with the lead. As Jacob Weiss seeds for Braden Bolnick.
There you go.
And
nice spare.
Good spare picked up.
So Coon Rapids needs a couple mishaps from the Panthers, right? Catch up here.
Yeah, a gutter. Maybe if I talk about a gutter ball, then
not right now. Not right now.
No,
Coon
not
Rapids
right
kid's
now.
going up right now.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, later.
Oh man. See, you brought up gutter ball, and he came back. Look at that. He said, "Gutter this." You know.
Yeah. Good strike picked up by Vogley, who has notched 2 in a row after struggling to start. And good answer there from Josh Bretzler as he picks up a strike of his own. He's one of the – it's 4 seniors and then Jacob Weiss's brother, Xavier, the sophomore.
There you go.
So a big bowl here for Nikolai Hiramasaki.
There you go.
And he gets the strike that he was looking for. So 140-136. Lane needs a good bowl here, or SLP rather. And they get it, but still a little bit left.
All right.
Vraybeck shaking his head, and he accepts a new ball as Hiramasaki
All right, here we go. He's going to get a turkey. It's about the only bowling term I know, a turkey.
Great
3 strikes in a row.
there as 2 strikes for Nikolai. Vraybeck able to pick up the spare.
So
169, 156.
Oh, if he gets a strike here, could they win?
Truthfully, I don't know.
Okay.
They've gotten 3 strikes in a row. Here, Masaki trying to get a turkey to finish this one out. I think it depends on what SLP does. And he doesn't quite get it. 3 left. And indeed, that's not going to be enough, as I think SLP is still going to bowl for the team average, and now he is consulting with their head coach, Mike Devine, on how they want to approach it. 169, 163, pending this roll from Lucas Vraybeck. And he gets all but 1 down, and that's going to do it. So 177. Game 2 goes to the Panthers, 177 to 163. So SLP, or excuse me, Coon Rapids, nothing if not consistent.
Yeah.
162 in the first game, 163 in the second. It's, again, a matchup of the last 2 state champions.
Yeah, and Coon Rapids is struggling in the middle. You know, I mean, they're starting strong, and the middle's hurting them a little bit, and then they come back strong in the end. So, got to clean that up a little bit.
And let me correct the record before people get upset. I kept calling him Hiramasaki. It's Hirsamaki.
Oh, there you go.
So, poor pronunciation on my part. Nico Hirsamaki, as neither, we'll see, both going to try to pick up a spare, and SLP unable to do so. So we'll see if Aiden Hofstedt, the senior, leading things off. I do think, like a batting order, there's some strategy to putting one of your best people first, just to start things off.
Yep.
But obviously the good people, if you're trying to catch up, you want them to go last. But that's quite a lot of pressure.
It is, yeah,
You
to start
think
out.
about it.
So, hey, I got my activities director here, Mr. Thompson.
All right, I will let you
We're going to switch off here
hand
a
the
little bit.
mic off to him. But that's this has been Coon Rapids High School Principal John Pena. John,
Yeah.
thanks for the time today. It's
No,
good to
thank
meet
you. Nice
Appreciate
to
it.
meet you as well. And it's a fun sport.
It
It's
is.
a fun
It is.
sport.
Go enjoy the rest of the meet. And now we welcome on Coon Rapids High School Activities Director Jeff Thompson. Jeff, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite, and obviously saving the best for last. About to elevate this game. About to elevate this.
Oh, I had fun. I had fun with John, but I'm sure it'll be a good time as well. So, it's just got to be exciting. Whatever the sport, whatever the activity, it's exciting when you have a state champion in your department, right?
You know, it hasn't been easy. You know, they got the state title, and then all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting bills for custom-built, you know, coach buses. You know, they want Italian marble bowling balls. They want staff handling the bowling ball. I mean, it's a lot.
Shoes.
I mean, look at these shirts. I mean, their uniforms, next level. I mean, that says
that's
champion.
Right. That's right. Endorsement deals with apparel companies and stuff.
No, in all seriousness, it is it's an amazing thing to see kids involved with stuff. You know, bowling is something a little bit partial to me because growing up in a small town, you know, sometimes not a lot of opportunities. You know, the Saturday Bowling League was something that we all did, and it just was something that was just this cool thing to be involved in, and so seeing that connection and that involvement is still around, and you know the number of kids that are involved in this. I mean, it's so cool to see all the different schools and all the kids and taking part in this right now. But then to have the state champions out of all that makes it that much more special. So it certainly was fun to celebrate it, blasted them all over the school and our social media, and did something at the Pep Fest in the winter with that. But yeah, it's been great, and really proud of them.
Yeah, and you got to feel good about having a guy like Rob DeVries, just a complete class act, leading the program as well, teaching. I mean, he's constantly just working with the kids, and it has to feel good to have someone of that kind of character in charge of your program as well.
Well, and to be honest with you, it's the pedigree, right? It's the father's son, so not just Rob, but his son as well, and it's double the amazing coaching and instructing, and obviously sitting here right now, it is all of that in action. So absolutely, it makes it easy when you've got coaches as amazing as them.
Good spare picked up here by the Cardinals. And yeah, Jordan is a 2018 graduate of Coon Rapids and coached the JV to a state title and a state runner-up in his brief coaching career. And he'll be the one who's actually coaching the varsity for the St. Francis matchup. Kind of started helping them at state last year when Rob was sidelined by some health issues, but they really have developed a nice chemistry. And Rob has talked about how their coaching styles are different, but they almost seem to complement each other.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you want as a head coach. One of the things that I talk about when we have some of our meetings is treat every coach as if they're going to step in at any moment, and it's a true testimony of the work that he's done and that ability to be interchangeable in that. And shout out to the strike the Cardinals just rallied off there in the fifth.
Yeah, no, both teams picking up strikes. Cardinals leading at 78-54 as Hofstedt a little bit off at the moment, trying to figure things out. But Cardinals trying to get back in this one. They trail it 2-0. Best of 5, of course.
And again, here's where we're going to see what we just talked about. So Hofstedt reaching out to coach there, making some of those quick adjustments. So we'll see what he got out of that.
Yeah, he had a long, involved conversation with Coach DeVries before, and he manages to make something out of that.
Yep. There we go.
As the coaching happens, and what's cool is it is such a technical sport, where you can. And it's so mental, right? I don't think people think enough about how mental bowling is.
So I married into a little bit of a bowling pedigree. My father-in-law's got 9 300 games and all the rings to match it. And the one variable that I just learned recently was the degradation of the wax on the lanes and how you look for certain things and how the ball moves. So Rob's sitting back, watching to see how those balls are moving and making those adjustments that go along with that.
Yeah, beautiful strike racked up here. As that was Jonathan Cox who bowled that, and a good answer for Coon Rapids and freshman Mason Kopp. You also see a lot of young competitors, and guys like Mason Kopp, and St. Francis has 3 kids in junior high who are contributing at the varsity level. So that's not something you see typically either, but I think the amount of side spin they get too is impressive. Like this is my 3rd year broadcasting this event. I could not believe how good the kids were.
Yeah, it's and there's some cool opportunities besides what's happening here, but I was on the receiving end of this. In Fayette, my son took a class that they bowled and did a unit bowling on. And that's where they were learning how to do that spin. And so he, unbeknownst to me, he asked me if we could go bowling and wanted to throw a little wager on it. And then he ended up waxing me with that spin. He's doing the two-handed too.
Oh, jeez.
So he was
hustled
trying to.
You.
Yeah, he hustled me, straight hustled.
Wow.
But he was trying to show me a little bit. And I mean, there is a lot of adjustment and technique. And I don't think people realize how important adjustments and just really how technical it is.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of spinning it.
SLP has jumped ahead. They're obviously slightly ahead, having been the visitors in this one. So 114 to 104. As they're going with the same lineup, 1 through 5. SLP is in this one, 122, 114. This one's tight coming down to the end.
Obviously, picking up this spare is going to be crucial and
Yep.
playing the next two frames tight.
But you're right, the oil on the lanes and how it changes after, the number of throws. Big spare here, and it's collected with no problem.
His
Very
form
well
and
done.
his power is just fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. That's Braden Bolnick. Picks up the spare, makes it 123, 114 with 2 frames left. Vogley gets the strike,
There
and a
we
big
go.
one.
Big strike.
At Vogley.
Right, and this is where you hope some of that state championshipness wears off, right? We're down 2 games. A little bit of a lead here, but this is where you hope that they push through and, are able to overcome a little bit of this obstacle.
Great response there from Blaine. As Josh Betzler able to pick up another strike. Now it's Hirsamaki.
Yeah,
and he
there we go.
responds. Nico Hirsamaki. The fun thing is all these kids know each other,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a lot of chatter as some of the Blaine kids were giving him props.
Yeah.
Vrebeck.
Well, and that's kind of the fun thing, right, when you come by with the adult league is, some of these guys have been playing against each other since high school.
Right.
And that rivalry has not stopped, and that back and forth trash talking, it's
Yeah.
a
Good
cool thing.
natured,
Good
but yeah,
community, good community.
a lot of fun, yeah.
It's all right.
Samaki leaves a little meat on that bone with the 4, 5, and 2 pins.
Spring Lake Park not backing down.
No, good spare picked up, 177 to 154. So big spare on the table, but Nico has been a clutch performer for this Coon Rapids team in the past.
Oh, a little bit of a stutter, but it didn't matter.
Nope,
He got it.
cleaned up his spare anyway. So 180 the target to hit for Spring Lake Park, and now they're maybe going to change balls to try to respond. He's going to his bag is Vrebeck, Lucas Vrebeck. So SLP trying to stay alive. 180, they're definitely their highest total today. As I imagine Vrebeck needs probably 2 strikes. So he goes with the heavier ball.
And did
And
not
didn't
get
quite
it.
get it. So that will do it. 180 to 163, the final in favor of Coon Rapids in game 3. So we will have a game 4 as the 2 teams switch sides of the lane. They don't waste a lot of time. They go right to it.
You want to keep that momentum going, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what else is new these days in the Coon Rapids activities? What are the hot topics right now? A lot busy time of year, isn't it?
It's one of the favorite times of the fall, which is the section time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 2 really good games from our soccer program. Unfortunately, both losses, but just the team stepping up and elevating, and new head coach Matt Backberg from the boys' side just did a phenomenal job. Ben Benson on his second year also doing an exceptional job. The girls program, I drove up to Duluth and got to support them through that game, and Leah, the goalie, had I think 17, 18 saves, just played out of her mind. Just a great game. And we got tennis individuals and team coming up here. Football tonight at Blaine. We're on that rotation where tonight is our Thursday night game.
Yep.
So we'll be playing football tonight over at Blaine. So
I'll
get
be
down
on
here.
the sidelines
Yeah.
for the next game,
Okay.
the season finale against
Farmington.
Against Farmington, the regular season finale, of course.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then, these days, Coon Rapids is in 5A, right, or lower part of 6A?
We're in 6A. Yep.
You're in
Nope,
6A.
We're in
okay.
6A. Yep.
Okay.
So.
Sometimes it's on the borderline, I know, with
Yeah.
attendance and whatnot.
Yep. It has to do with attendance. So those decisions aren't made until after the season. We had to submit some stuff to the Minnesota State High School League and such, and so we kind of wait and see where those things play out. Cross country conference last night. Lachlan Demmer hard fought, almost eked out a first there, but ended up coming in second. Both the boys and girls, varsity and JV teams had great performances. Some amazing PRs. Swimming just having their senior night this week, just coming off homecoming. Always great stuff happening. One of my favorite events this Saturday at US Bank Stadium. If you got nothing going on, come out and check our marching band. And it's one of the premier showcases of marching band talent throughout the state. So it's always a good thing. We got our fall dance show happening this Saturday at the school. That starts at 11. So we are always shaking and moving on the activity side of things.
Yeah, it's I've thought about it before, and I'm trying to figure out. You would be able to answer this better than me, but is fall, winter, or spring the busiest time of year in terms of the most activities going on concurrently?
Yeah, so that's actually a very common question I get, and the reality is each of the seasons provides something unique. Fall, the busy of fall is because the school year is starting, and that brings a kind of its own type of pace. Oh, unfortunate gutter on that.
Yeah, couldn't clean up the spare. 39-36, Spring Lake Park leads it over Coon Rapids right now.
But then winter has a lot of contests between wrestling and basketball. Hockey, those are sports that have a lot of games, and so that's busy. And then spring, when you get weather and obviously adding boys volleyball now, that brings, and then the end of the school year and all of the stuff recognizing graduation and things like that. A lot of good stuff going on. So they each have something different.
What went into the decision in terms of whether to have boys volleyball be a spring sport or a fall sport?
A couple different variables. Obviously the biggest one is space and transportation. And so they wanted to look at, how would that be an impact if it was in the spring versus the fall. I think, to be honest with you, another factor was officials. And so we continue to, have some needs for officials. Shameless plug for those of you who are on the fence about being an official.
Yeah, go be an official.
Go, please do it. But yeah, so it just made more sense to go in the spring. It's been in the spring, and so looking at the impact on other sports, we kind of felt, as we were having discussions and offering feedback, we kind of felt that nice strike right there.
Yeah, great strike by Nico. He's on a heater right now. 66-59, two straight strikes for SLP, trying to make it 3, and unable to do so. Vraybeck leaving the 10 pin out there.
Yeah, so ultimately they landed on it staying in the spring, and then kind of going from there. So.
And Coon Rapids has a pretty dedicated and solid boys volleyball program already.
And not just Coon Rapids, but Anoka Hennepin. Andover has won state a couple times. Champlin's had a good program. Blaine, yeah. So
SLP's got a good program.
Yeah. It's a fun place to. I'm really excited for it. Obviously, you have some of those opening jitters. You're thinking about the impact on other programs. So obviously you don't ever want to take away from something. But, it'll be fun to see. And obviously, from the Olympics, volleyball continues to be a favorite both on the men's and the women's side. So nice that kids will have some opportunity to maybe chase those dreams.
Yeah, that's exciting. And, yeah, it is just a fun – and then you're going to get into November where you're going to start having overlap with other activities as well, which is always an interesting time.
Yeah. Football, football has the latest playoff, so that's – one that sometimes impacts basketball and wrestling, as those things carry over.
And Coon Rapids has had its share of good wrestlers over the years as well.
Oh, phenomenal. I started out in Anoka Hennepin head coaching at Andover, starting that program.
Oh, okay.
And, they were one of those programs where just every year they just always had just phenomenal teams and obviously great coaching. It's fun being on this side with Adam Tronson starting his second year as a head coach. But
how did you think he did in his first year?
Oh gosh, he did a great job. He's got some cool ideas and some really good stuff with scheduling, providing us some opportunities. We'll be in the Christmas tournament this year, so it'll be fun to see that caliber of performance.
Yeah,
to be honest
absolutely.
with you.
Now, Anoka is one of those schools that's traditionally had good wrestling teams as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just rich history and tradition, and it's always a fun rivalry. We have that golden shoe match, and actually we start out the season this year taking on Anoka. So
okay.
It'll be fun to start out the season with a win against Anoka. You hear that, Anoka? Better be running.
Get in the gym.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, geez. 114 to 103. Coon Rapids trying to win this and force a fifth and decisive Game 5. Bill Hupp, along with Activities Director Jeff Thompson. We thank Jeff and Principal John Pena for joining us on this broadcast.
I do have a little bit of apprehension now that I see Principal Pena down in the boulders area wearing street shoes. And ironically, big sign blasting right now, do not wear street shoes. Principal Pena jeopardizing our stability here.
No street shoes past the carpet. I was about to say, I think he's safe as long as he stays off the wood, but you're right. You got to read carefully. 2 straight strikes for SLP have made their lead 134 to 121. Don't forget, we'll have the nightcap of this doubleheader, afternoon-evening doubleheader, with Coon Rapids and St. Francis.
Answering back with a spare, so we're keeping it alive.
Yeah. Now, how do you, as activities director, how do you decide sort of what events to try to be at and take in, or do you try to watch as much as you can?
I try to watch as much as I can, much to my wife's
chagrin
feedback. I try to catch something every day, and even if I stop in for a little bit, I think it's an important part of the job to always understand your why. And sitting right here, I could not be happier seeing these individuals compete and knowing that that's something that you're part of. So. Sometimes get busier. Last week, I don't think I slept or was at home at all last week. But, I said this at our Hall of Fame induction dinner on Friday, that sitting back Wednesday night, watching our stands filled with community members supporting the Power Puff and, wearing matching shirts and cheering, and the kids, you get that moment to step back in your own high school experience, and just happy to see those things that are important in those traditions and just that joy that activities bring.
Really difficult 7-10 split picked up by Spring Lake Park. So now it's 162 to 138 as the heavy hitters at the bottom of the order go step up. And Nico leaves one,
looks like
one hanging. Now,
6.
Are there athletic directors with whom you've worked in the past that you kind of admired aspects of how they did the job, and you're trying to sort of pattern how you do it as well? You obviously you're going to do it your own way as well, but
yeah.
But who are some of your influences in the athletic directing world?
Yeah, it was. I shared this last year at the last year's Hall of Fame. I had the opportunity to induct an individual into the Hall of Fame that was actually the activity director that hired me when Andover opened back in 2002, Dan Deneke. And Dan was an absolute just wealth of knowledge and reinforced the things that I thought were important, but then also shared a whole batch of things that I didn't even know about. And so he definitely was one, and then working with Eric Latola as an activities director, and then now working side by side with him has been an awesome journey. And then really, a shout out to the Northwest Suburban Conference. I mean, I work with some amazing activity directors frequently. Just today we were at the 5A region meeting, and it's a great professional learning community and a lot of great support. It helps me process things that I maybe don't have my stance on yet, and you hope that you take bits and pieces of all of that to make the best version. And sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. But no, I've been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really great people.
So, yeah, no, and you especially with this kind of job, right? You don't start out as an AD, you build your way up, right?
Yeah.
And so those are, always learning experiences along the way as Spring Lake Park, with a spare and a strike from Lucas Vrabek, polish off a 191 to 147 win. They win the match 3-1. So Coon Rapids suffers a rare loss, but it kind of speaks to the quality in this area that you have the last 2 defending state champs, plus a really highly ranked team in Blaine. It's a good area for bowling in the state.
Yeah, and I mean you see that evident on Fridays and Saturdays, and even the league play during the week. These bowling, I drive past this bowling alley every day, and it's always busy, and it's that important activity that people find value in, and you come here on one of the league nights, and it's really fun to see people find something that they're so passionate about, and really a wide range of ages. My father-in-law in his 60s still rolling twice a week.
Twice a week.
Twice
Wow.
a week. Yep.
Wow.
He's got his men's league, and then he's got his couples league.
That's awesome. So he definitely owns his own shoes, his own balls.
Yeah. Some people have in-laws, they inherit land and lake homes and this and that. I think I'm going to inherit about 17,000 bowling balls. He's got a bit of an issue.
Consider yourself lucky, Jeff.
I'm going to donate them to the program.
Yeah. So what's one aspect of, or an aspect or two of the job as activities director that maybe has surprised you? Or at least when you first started, it surprised you. You're probably pretty used to it.
Well, I would say time. I mean, it is 7 days a week, and even sometimes minimal stuff on Sundays. But with weather cancellations and births of children and all the different things that change and alter any given moment, you really are plugged in 7 days a week. And then the emails, I never get away from emails, and you're constantly behind, and that impacts me maybe a little bit more because I never want to disappoint anyone, and I never want someone to feel that their need or their voice isn't important. So anytime stuff is waiting kind of in that queue, it impacts me a little bit. So
yeah, you don't like to leave people hanging.
No.
How much are you in communication with other athletic directors in the area?
Oh my gosh, hourly. Yeah, hourly. So just for example, I had to step out when Principal Pena was joining you just to answer a couple questions with Garrity as we get over to Blaine. Just working on a couple,
logistical.
last
it's always
minute,
logistics.
last
right?
minute logistical things. So, yeah, it's and back to what I said earlier. I find that to be a positive. Like, it's great to have a team of people there to support, because when I reach out, they answer. And it is amazing the things that happen. I mean, last year with the East Gym flooding, I mean, how do you prepare for that? You lose 1/3 of your teaching space during the daytime, 1/3 of your practice and game space, and what do? You just you reach out and you problem solve, and you find other places to practice, and in that community they pick you up and they help you through that. So
complicates things for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I was involved in a very odd. I don't even know how an AD would handle this kind of thing, but There was a YouTube prank that happened during a Blaine Centennial game last year.
Whoa, with
I
the
was
lawnmower.
broadcasting. Yes.
Yes,
You
the
know about
lawnmower.
it.
I know.
Yes.
The infamous lawnmower.
The infamous lawnmower that was fired up after a
Yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
were so confused.
Well, and it's
But that's the kind of situation, no matter how much training you do, you can't prepare for that.
absolutely.
And that's a very 2024
Absolutely.
problem
Well,
to
and then
deal
there's
with, too.
there's a generational separation too, because you're like, you're doing what? Why are you doing this?
Right.
Like, I don't. And that, and I don't know if you know. Nice, another great strike.
Yeah, great
Back to
strike
back on
there.
the Cardinals.
106 to 73 now.
So that individual kind of spurred a couple others to try to match it. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
Copycats.
yeah, copycats,
Oh, boy.
and we were dealing with that a bunch after that. And it's just kind of like, why, you know?
And I actually thought, you know, with the video that he posted and everything, and actually in hindsight, I thought the officials and everybody there, the refs and the administrators, I thought they handled it as well as they could have.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that I'm sure you picked up on is, you know, the individual had a camera team that was, you know, looking for a reaction.
Right.
You know, so that's why, you know, you always want to make sure that you showed the best version of yourself and
Yes,
represent.
keep it professional.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Absolutely.
But also, like, you can't do that here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows for some great back and forth. So, in fact, today I asked Garrett if he wants me to keep an eye on the fence for lawnmowers, and, and he shakes his head.
Oh, yeah, he's probably going to be hearing that one for a
Oh,
while.
yeah, you don't live it down, that's for sure.
No. Trying to pick up so close to getting the spare there. Mason Kopp, 131 to 83. Haven't spoken to Coach DeVries, but I believe this is just a fun practice round. It's not since the match has already been decided, to the best of my knowledge, anyway.
Yeah, and you'd think this is good strategy with a doubleheader. You want them to shake off whatever little bugs they were working through in that last round, and hopefully they come with the next game. And we have St. Francis next, right?
St. Francis,
Yep.
yep. So, who, last I checked, like I said, they've got a 9th grader, an 8th grader, 2 7th graders. So, it's a young squad, but they're just trying to kind of figure things out and probably be pretty good in the future as they have a new first-year head coach.
Yeah. Cardinals with another good power strike.
Yeah, Spring Lake Park.
But Spring Lake
Park's
getting a turkey.
Got a turkey, yep. It's like the one phrase everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, they're 2 freshmen, an 8th grader, and a 7th grader for Cody Buckingham's squad. Yeah, the fun fact about the Cardinals is that last year they were the first team with 5 two-handed bowlers to win state.
Oh, very interesting.
That's,
That's the first I heard that.
Yeah, that's something that Jordan DeVries, has helped sort of introduce. But state champions in 2023 and 2020, as it's now 160 to 155 as we enter the back half of the 9th frame.
Spring Lake Park picking up another spare.
Yep. John Pena behind us. It's, if you'd told me in like the mid 90s we'd be all taking photos of ourselves like selfie style, I wouldn't have believed you. But
Just
all
letting
right.
the viewers know, email me if you want to see the photographic evidence of Principal Pena wearing the street shoes.
In illegal areas. 159 to 162, and Samaki leaving one pin out there. That'd be so fun to bowl a 300 game, as he's done before.
Yeah, I was had the opportunity to be there for one of them, and
oh really? Okay.
And it was it's one of those
Does
where
the whole team get into it?
Well, so again, unbeknownst to me, is when the score starts running up, and this is my one experience. Maybe this was us, and it was here, actually, a Classic Bowl. But as he was getting closer to it, then no one acknowledged it.
Oh, it was like a no-hitter.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so there was a lot of cheers and excitement when he was throwing strikes, and then there was this like moment where like no one even looked in that direction, but they'd kind of be peering out of their eyes. And so I'd ask my wife, I'm like, what's going on? She's like, just don't say anything, don't say anything. So it was, and then when he hit it, the place went nuts, and they made an announcement, and
That's fun.
yeah.
And he
There we go.
rolls
Nice.
another strike there, so a strong finish. 181 to 179. Spring Lake Park will bowl one of these, but handshakes all around. Yeah, good sportsmanship between these two longtime rivals, the two latest defending state champs.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the stuff you like to see, right? You got coaches celebrating both sides. You got kids celebrating each other.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they're eagerly watching that last frame.
Which
both
was
sides.
a strike for
Yeah,
Vrabek.
yeah.
So 191, 179 in
Yeah.
the, I suppose you call it exhibition
Yeah.
portion of things. So are you going to be heading over to Blaine then after this for the
Yeah,
football game
yep,
tonight?
yep. We'll go over there and then watch the Cardinals get their first win.
Sam Shaughnessy will be a handful, but if you can contain him,
Yep. Yeah.
I was there last year when he took over in kind of an emergency situation, and then and then ran wild. It was fun.
You know, and how cool is that to see those moments, right? When somebody waiting for their opportunity steps up and then just absolutely dominates with it.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. So that'll do it for us here for Game 1. Again, Spring Lake Park downs Coon Rapids 3-1, 3 games to 1. We'll have the second half of this doubleheader coming up as Coon Rapids faces St. Francis next on CTN. But thanks in the meantime to Activities Director Jeff Thompson for coming on the broadcast. Jeff, good to see you again.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, and thanks always for covering Cardinal Nation with the exceptional coverage you do.
I'm no Joe or Howie, but I try.
Hey, it's better. It's better. You tell Joe and Howie that John and I are coming for their spot.
Will do.
All right.
We'll be back in a moment here on CTN.
Winston, nice hands, drives and scores. Shot to goal. Picked him off, beautifully done. Breakaway shot to goal, just like that.
From Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids, it's time for Cardinals bowling on CTN as the Cardinals take on St. Francis here at home. And they are underway against the Saints on lanes 5 and 6. Right now, it is 8-6 in favor of Coon Rapids. Bill Hupp, Mike Peterson, terrific cameramen here for CTN, and a spare collected for Coon Rapids. Nicely done there by Aiden Hofstad, the senior. Starts things off with a spare. Next up, the freshman Mason Kopp rolls in a strike. So a good start here for Coon Rapids. They're up 30-6 in the early going. There's a shake of the head from Thomas Garza. St. Francis led by first-year head coach Corey Buckingham. Very young team with a lot of newer bowlers. Now it's freshman Isaiah Johnson. His high score is 201 for this Saints program. 2 straight strikes for Coon Rapids. Bill Hupp flying solo for this second match. We, again, big thanks to Coon Rapids High School principal Jeff Pena and activities director Jeff Thompson for joining us in the first match. That one was won by Spring Lake Park 3-1. Now they're bowling against Blaine in what should be an outstanding matchup. Andover and Anoka tangling on lanes 1 and 2. Matt Vogley racks up a 3rd straight strike. So how about this from Coon Rapids, a turkey in game number 1. Putting the pressure early as St. Francis cannot pick up the spare. Nice effort by Carmen Langsfeld, 9th grader, or beg your pardon, that was 8th grader Caleb Johnson. Langsfeld bowling out of the 5 spot now. 80-29 in Langsfeld. A little bit of work to do, but a good roll. Nico leaves the 3, 5, and 10, 3, 6, and 10 pins rather. And Nico picks up his spare. One of the most just melodic sounds. Just pins crashing over and over. Gotta love it. Already much better scores put up here for Blaine, or excuse me, Coon Rapids in this second matchup against St. Francis. Bit of a delay in the action as some coaching instructions handed out to Langsfeld. Her high score this year, 189. Good for second best on the team. Seventh grader Sean Buckingham, son of Corey. And they had a pin reset. That was the delay. So lane reset. And we'll be back to action after that. Because, yeah, they're, looks like on the 6th frame, something's going on. So now they need to reset the electronics, I guess. Jordan DeVries leading the way for Coon Rapids here tonight. As there's a pin just hanging out in lane number 5. And swept away. So now we wait. colorful jerseys and black pants. Trying to reset things electronically here on lanes 5 and 6. Like we said, St. Francis, a very young team with a lot of newer bowlers, including the coach's son. And Langfeld almost able to pick up spare. Not really sure why she couldn't. Good sportsmanship by Coach Jordan DeVries. And we'll see how things progress for Coon Rapids. The delay doesn't seem to have thwarted them much, as Aiden Hofstedt will look to pick up a spare. And near strike there for Colton Hasselback. Caleb Johnson expected to be in the lineup, but not tonight for St. Francis. 123 to 47 as the spare unable to be collected there. So that brings up the freshman Mason Kopp. High game this year of 279. Kopp leaves the very makeable spare left, 7, 8, and 4 pins. And Kopp sweeps away pin number 7, but leaves a couple left, so slowing down a little bit, but still 132 to 53. .55 make that. And an excellent throw there by Braden Bolnick. So how about Bolnick? 2 straight strikes. 4th strike of the afternoon in this first game. 4th straight strike of this game, I should say. 142 to 63. And it'll be Vogley and Samaki to throw. Johnson unable to pick up the spare. Isaiah Johnson, freshman, along with Colton Hasselback. 7th grader Sean Buckingham, the elder statesman of the group, junior Thomas Garza. As Sean Buckingham, 170 high game, just a 7th grader, with his dad in command. .710 split, the dreaded .710 split for Vagley. Vagley unable to pick up either. Fist bumps all around. Buckingham unable to pick up his spare. Yeah, every single Cardinal two-handed bowler. Not the case for most of the other teams. nearly a strike. As Nico leaves himself with the 9-pin left and collects his spare comfortably. So going to get another ball is Samaki. SLP basically doubling up St. Francis here, 168 to 80. Samaki picks up a strike. Ends it with authority. We'll have one more roll. No, that'll be it. 178 to 80, the final score. Best score of the day for Coon Rapids, excuse me. As the Cardinals win it 178 to 80 over St. Francis. And the two teams will switch sides and do it again. Best 3 of 5. Games 4 and 5 if necessary. Good start here for Aiden Hofstead as Jordan DeVries decided to do the same lineup as his dad, who's down coaching JV. This is kind of the system they've developed. Jordan will coach one game, his dad will do the other, and then they'll flip-flop, trading places with varsity and junior varsity. And I think it's good for the kids. A little bit of different perspective. According to Coach DeVries, Rob DeVries, I guess I got to be specific when I talk about that. Spare is left hanging, both teams with a 9 to start. As Kopp will step up. Mason Kopp. We're switching it up. Isaiah Johnson, or Caleb Johnson rather, getting a run. And a good strike meanwhile for Kopp. Caleb Johnson with that bright green ball. Oh, just can't quite get his spare. It's funny, they had the kids fill out this questionnaire about what they enjoy most, and I would say 90% of the responses were meeting new people and hanging out with my friends at the bowling alley. It's just what it's all about. Braden Bolnick spins that one and will leave himself with a difficult spare to pick up. But a nice effort. He's got the 2-10 split. Coon Rapids defending state champs. Won it in 2023. Spring Lake Park also here at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids this afternoon. State champions in 2022. 35-21 as Bolnick tries to pick up a difficult spare and can't quite do it. With the hair and everything, he's a very dramatic bowler. So 37-26 now the score. As Matt Vagley, whose mom is very active and involved, part of the proceedings here. Good roll there by the coach's kid, Sean Buckingham. Vagley able to pick up his spare. Buckingham has had a tough time picking up his spares today, but he's putting himself in good position to get them. Yamasaki gets the strike. That last pin, that 9 pin rather, knocked over. So now it's 67-32. And this should be a clean sweep for Coon Rapids. A lot of bowling left to do, but Coon Rapids bowling well against a young team like St. Francis. Between SLP, Anoka, Blaine, and Coon Rapids, you have 4 of the better bowling programs, not just in the area, but in the state, all in this Northwest Suburban Conference. (67-39) as the rotation turns over and senior Aiden Hofstedt steps up. Hofstedt leaves the 4 and 2 pins out there. Hofstedt to pick up his spare. Can't do it this time. 83-49 the score. Mason Kopp has been bowling it excellent in this second match. 3 straight strikes for him. Make it 4. He is on fire right now, the freshman. And just extending their lead. He's got 2 of the 3 strikes for Coon Rapids. And it is a nice bounce. It's a cool story. Jordan DeVries graduated in 2018. He's led the JV team to a state title and to a state runner-up finish. And last year when his dad was recovering from an illness and wasn't sure if he could do the state tournament, Jordan took over and in his dad's stead and helped lead the Cardinals to a title. Not the best effort there from Braden Bolnick as maybe it slipped. Grabs the rag as that one goes into the gutter. A rare mistake from the Cardinals. 93-63. There's a much better effort, and it results in 9 pins down. So something out of nothing for Braden Bolnick. $111.63. And a strike in the books for Matt Vagley. So the strikes continuing for this Coon Rapids Cardinals team as Sean Buckingham with a difficult split to try to pick up. Meanwhile, 163, 114, Anoka leading Andover on lanes 1 and 2. I mean, Buckingham able to pick up 2 of those 3 pins. As Nikolai Ursamaki racks up another strike for Coon Rapids. $141-74. Cardinals in command here this afternoon. I'm surprised more kids don't scream and pump their fists. You don't see too many jubilant reactions. No Pete Weber's out here. And Nico leaves that one out there as the 4-pin left standing. But another excellent effort. As St. Francis improves on its game 1 total, finishing with 82. We'll see what Blaine finishes with. As Hiramasaki picks up the spare with no problem. 160-82. St. Francis going to shuffle its lineup again a little bit. Nearly double up. Coon Rapids nearly doubles up St. Francis. So a 2-0 lead for the Cardinals as we get set to start the 3rd game in what Coon Rapids hopes is a 3-game sweep. Cardinals have looked pretty dominant in the early going. Good spare picked up there by the first bowler, Aiden Hofstedt. St. Francis has shuffled its lineup every single game. Well, I shouldn't quite say that. This is the same lineup. No, I beg your pardon. As Thomas Garza will bowl instead of Carmen Langsfeld in the 5th spot, whereas Jordan DeVries rather has kept his order the same for the Cardinals. Why not? They're bowling outstanding. Another strike picked up by Kopp, who's particularly on fire. 30-15. And well done there by Braden Bolnick. 2 straight strikes now for the Cardinals. Buckingham. Oh, leaves the 3-pin out. Bagley with a rather challenging 8-2 split. And it looks like there may be some technical difficulties again with lane number 6. 74-53. Big thanks again to producer Mike Peterson for getting this broadcast on the air today, and for our camera guys Matt and Luke for helping us out, making us look good. Good spare picked up by Bagley. 78-53. I tell you, these meets do click along. Kids they get up and they're ready to bowl. It is Nikolai Hirsamaki. Try to make it 3 strikes in the last 4 frames for Coon Rapids. And he does. With authority. Excellent job by Nico Hiramasaki. 3 strikes in this game so far against the Saints. 98-53. Make that 98-58. A little bit of work to do for Aiden Hofstedt. And Hofstad able to pick up his spare, no problem. So a strike or a spare in every single frame so far for Coon Rapids, and they might be ending strongly, finishing with a flourish if they can keep it up. 118-66. Caleb Johnson now for St. Francis. And how about Mason Kopp? No strike there, but it's about the only mistake he's made here in this one. 4, 5, and 2 pins remaining. See if he can keep the spare strike streak alive. And he does. Another spare for Coon Rapids. On 35 to 76. Nearly another strike by Braden Bolnick, but he'll have an opportunity to pick up a spare. Final few frames here from Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. Another year of Coon Rapids bowling on CTN. Thank you for joining us. 153 to 94. So already St. Francis has surpassed its previous high score. However they finish. Bolnick is able to pick up a spare, so.
That's a 10-yard flag on you for holding.
Matt Vagley with a couple pins left to spare as Sean Buckingham again close to a strike with one to go. It's interesting the different balls that the kids use too, depending on what they need. If they need a strike or a spare, they have it very tuned in. 166 to 103. Coon Rapids trying to keep that streak alive. And Vagley picks up another spare, so not as many strikes as maybe they would hope, but Coon Rapids doing a nice job of cleaning up their spares. Fun to see the Corey Buckingham and his son Sean. .24 now the score for St. Francis as Nico Hermasaki steps up and drills a strike. Beautifully done by Hirmasaki.
You're funny.
Coon Rapids in this game has gone spare, strike, strike, spare, strike, spare, 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 strike. So pretty good effort cleaning up those spares. 190 to 128. So by far will be St. Francis's high watermark. Here Masaki will look to pick up a spare, as will Garza. 129 the final for St. Francis. It'll be a 3-0 clean sweep here in game number 2. It looks like they are going to bowl another game. Himasaki cleans it up, and even 200 on the scoreboard. So Coon Rapids wins it 200 to 129. They finish off a clean sweep. So officially, Coon Rapids down St. Francis 178 to 80, 160 to 82, 200 to 129, but they're going to get the kids more practice and bowl these last couple games just for fun. Again, if you're just joining us, Coon Rapids fell to St. Francis, or to SLP rather. Coon Rapids fell to Spring Lake Park 3-1 in their first match, and now in the second match they sweep St. Francis 3-0. Another strike racked up by Kopp. Switching up the order of things here is Thomas Garza now bowling in the second position. Sean Buckingham leading them off. Garza, then Lengsfeld, Johnson, and Johnson. It is unique to watch Coon Rapids with the amount of two-handed bowlers. Such as Braden Bolnick. Carmen Lengsfeld in the final, in the fifth position initially, now bowling second. (29-13). Vagley leaves a couple. Good battle going on here with Andover as they've collected a couple strikes to start things. Vagley able to get two, but nothing more than that. Coon Rapids High School Principal Jeff Pena joined us, as well as Activities Director Jeff Thompson. John Pena, rather. And Jeff Thompson joined us in the beginning, in the first match. The first match, in case you just joined us, SLP won it 3-1 over Coon Rapids. Cardinals were able to get one when they won 180 to 163, but otherwise SLP was strong. That said, Coon Rapids bowled better, 200 in game 3. Leading here 46 to 23. Nikolai Hirmasaki, and picks up his spare. 47-23. Rob DeVries now in his 10th season. Son Jordan, like we said, a 2018 graduate of Coon Rapids. Last year, the Cardinals won state with 5 two-handed bowlers, a first in history. Guys like Matt Vagley and Nico Hirsamaki were both important members of those teams. Gavin DeVries, the coach's son, and Jordan's brother, grew to 6'5" and is now playing hoops for Fort Hays Tech out in Kansas, playing at a JUCO. Also a good bowler. Batted cleanup last year for the Cardinals. $65-35. And again, these last 2 games won't count. Coon Rapids has already won their match over St. Francis, 3-0. So just for fun. Sean Buckingham has been so close to picking up the spare. All day, but awfully close, but just leaving a pin or two out there. Mason Kopp, whose high game is 279. Here Masaki has bowled a couple 300 games. And Kopp gets his spare. Braden Bolnick. With a strike of his own. Carmen Langsfeld leaves a pin hanging, the one right in the middle, the 5 pin. Don't forget to watch on CTN tonight as the Cardinals visit Blaine, number 9 team in state. Coon Rapids looking to pick up its first win of the season. Against the Bengals. Langsfeld close to her spare, but not quite. 95-72. As Matt Vagley frustrated. (105-80). Isaiah Johnson. And Coon Rapids are going to win game number 4 too. Try to make it a clean sweep. So we'll have one more game left to play. And Masaki with his 5th strike of the match. Caleb Johnson bowling in the 5th position. And it's interesting, Corey Buckingham's shuffled his lineup just about every time. Another strike for Nico. Trying to get a turkey at the end here. Suddenly the score's been boosted to 145-82. Can he get the turkey? He can. Nico Hersamaki. Outstanding. 3 straight strikes here to end. And he's now got 7 for the game, and what a finish. 155-86. Their lowest score today, but still an impressive finish to even get there. So we'll do one more. Coon Rapids has won 4 of the 5. Looking to make it a clean sweep. Stay tuned, CTN, for playoff coverage. On CTN all throughout the month of October. Bill Hupp and our entire terrific crew here at the Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. Cardinals dropped a tough one to a very good Spring Lake Park team, 3-1, 3 games to 1 in the first match. But in the second match, they've gone 4-0 against St. Francis. Looking to make it a clean sweep. Mason Kopp. Stepping up and knocking him down. 5th strike of the match for Kopp. This time it's Colton Hasselbach, Carmen Lengsfeld, Thomas Garza, Caleb Johnson, and Isaiah Johnson to round things out. Lengsfeld wearing number 5 on the jersey. (18-17). As Brandon Bolnick leaves a couple left. Spring Lake Park led by Coach Mike Devine, won state in 2022. Won the JV state championship in 2022 as well. Coach Devine's daughter was one of the leaders of the team, and now she did bowl at St. Ambrose and then transferred to Wisconsin Whitewater for her last 2 seasons. She's the NCAA team. 30-20 as Bolnick unable to pick up that spare. Matt Vagley. Leaves the 8-pin hanging as Caleb Johnson steps up. Bit of a false start by Johnson. Not something you often see. It's got to be like a golf swing, though, or something very technical where your repeated motion is so important. As Vagley looks to pick up the spare and does. (40-26). Nice spare picked up by Isaiah Johnson. And then Nico with another strike. He is just on fire right now. 8 straight strikes. Or 8 strikes in this match, I should say. 4 in a row. And it's 60-55. Again, this match is academic as Cardinals have already wrapped this one up, taking the first 3 games. Hard to believe that when Coach DeVries took this program over a decade ago, it was almost going extinct. But he stepped up, he has coached and done brilliantly. 2 state championships delivered for the Cardinals in the last 3 years. Mason Kopp somehow does not get the strike. Carmen Langsfeld with a strike. As Kopp unable to pick up the spare. Now the kid's just bowling for fun at this point. Garza very close to picking up a strike for St. Francis. They're bowling better. 86-83 as we near the last 3 frames of this one. But yeah, happy to be bringing you this fun broadcast. Normally would have had a Hall of Fame coach joining us, but he was held up at work and couldn't make it out, but hope to have him back next year. A really asset to the broadcast as he knows so many of these kids. Head coach at Irondale. Caleb Johnson stepping up for St. Francis. 105 to 85. Isaiah Johnson with a little bit of work to do. One last chance for Nico Hersamaki. His team in command. Trying to pick up the 9th and 10th strikes of his match, and he leaves one hanging out there, but heck of an effort. We'll see if he is able to pick up that spare, and he is, so he will get one last chance at another strike. Nope, that'll be it. 144-101, handshakes all around, and that'll do it for us here at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. For producer Mike Peterson, our camera guys Matt and Luke, I'm Bill Hupp saying good evening from Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. Cardinals fall 3-1 in the first match to Spring Lake Park, but they rebound nicely with a 3-0 clean sweep of St. Francis in the nightcap. Thanks for watching this exclusive presentation of Coon Rapids Cardinals Athletics on CTN.